now. We didn't miss anything. So she basically like shot up from 4-star to 11-star within this like small time frame while we were all working together in this group. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to get her on this call to like share some action items with us and some like vision and whatever she feels will kind of give us the best bang for our buck in terms of growing our business and feeling inspired and like believing what's possible, because she's proof that it's possible right here. So she's an 11-star diamond, premier 2020, elite 2021, SE10 all-star legend. So if you guys don't know what that means well, SE10 64 months in a row. So that means for 64 months in a row, she's never missed Success Club. And obviously that's a huge accomplishment. And like we always say, it speaks to how important consistency is in this business. To do it, to be, whenever you hear SC like all-star or legend, that means that not 1 month was missed. So all-star means a year, means 12 months. Legend means 24 months. That's like the biggest term that they give. But like I'm an SC legend, she's an SC legend, and it's like SC, 64 months. So there's no term bigger than that, but that's what it is. SC legend for 64 months in a row. And so there we go. So Christina, right now we'll just like open like for you to give us like your gold, and then if you have time, we can do some questions.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for asking me to be on. I think that one of my biggest joys now in this business is being able to like share on calls, because I feel like I grew my business with just other people adding their value. And I think that is like one insane thing about Beachbody. And it's very interesting because I think we can sometimes take it for granted. I mean, we get the wake up call every Monday. We have people, leaders on YouTube, just free podcasts, like value, value, value. And my corporate mentor, who I love so much, when she came over from Rodan and Fields, and when I met her at leadership, she was like, I am so blown away. She's like, you have no idea. Like there are other companies are not like this. Like other companies are not like this, where women are like sharing what they do to be successful, to help other people be successful in the business who have nothing to do with their team. She's like, it's very, very different. So I just want to like, frame your mind that like what people in like the team of Beachbody, like when this is team Beachbody, I'm like, that's not a joke, right? Like we are all a team. And that's what I love about Melissa and Liz. It's like, you find these people that you just like connect with and get value from and jive with. And so one of my biggest pleasures now is to be able to like give that back. Because my upline bowed out of the business like about a year in or so when I was like a diamond. And I was like, well, I gotta like, do the calls and run the groups, do this. So I was so thankful for every wake up call. I was so thankful for every YouTube video that I would like watch when I needed to learn how to, even host a team call. So I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. But I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you, and we're going to talk about vision, because this is one of my, like, this is my wheelhouse. Like, this is what I'm so passionate about. Because I think in the beginning of my business for so long, I would hear somebody say they had success, or they were hitting ranks, or they were doing this. And like, literally when I started jumping, everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing freaking different than I've done since like day one. Right. The success doesn't happen overnight. It compounds over time, but you have to have a vision, right? And a belief that it can happen. And I think that is the difference, because we all have the same tactical tools. But if you're sitting there with your same tracker, believing that somebody else that's jumping ranks has some different skill than you, you won't get there, because you'll think that you don't have it, right? And if you don't have a vision for what this business is going to do for you, you won't stick with it, and it will instead just be business activity. So like, that's where I'm going to frame it. So a lot of people think like, what's the secret sauce to growing diamonds in this? I mean, there's tactical steps, but that's not what I'm going to talk about tonight. I want to light some fire in you for Q4 and into 2022, because we have so much coming. So the one thing I really believe, like I said, is all vision starts with belief. And you don't have to know exactly where you want to go with this business, but you do have to believe that this business can take you anywhere you want to go in life. Because if you don't believe that, then again, like I said, you're working this business not to build a Beachbody business, but to create the life that you want. So you have to recognize this as an opportunity that will help you do that. And I'm going to share a little bit of my story, because I always say this business was put into my life like a year before I knew that I ever needed it. So 5 years ago, I'm a physical therapist, retired now, but I was working full-time in my physical therapy career. I worked in a subacute rehab nursing home with geriatric population, loved it. But seeing what was coming down the road, it really prompted me to take care of my health and fitness. So I was really big into nutrition and fitness. And I started teaching group fitness at a gym, because and for longer than 5 years, I mean, that was quite a while before that, because it was like my passion project on the side, right? It was my way to like work with people that were younger and wanted to take care of themselves. And I was very big into preventative, and because of what my line of work was. And that was all well and good while I had one child, because that hour at the gym Friday night, the class I taught, that hour Sunday morning, it was like my outlet, right? It was my me time. I love connecting with the people in my class. And if you ever taught group fitness, like, you do it for the love and like absolutely not the paycheck. I was making like $17 an hour for a class that I jam packed, because I worked my ass off to put on an awesome class. I taught Les Mills programs, so you have to like memorize choreography, and the gym paid me $17 for like one full hour there, and probably like 5 hours of separate time, like during the week, memorizing music. And again, loved it until I had two more kids, and we were blessed with twins the second time around. So I had a 3-year-old, and then I had twin newborns, and I was still working 40 hours a week. My husband worked in the restaurant business, so he worked nights and weekends. So I did every like morning routine solo, most of the nighttime routine solo. So that outlet for me, that passion project, became more of a stressor. I was like, I do not have the brain power. Like when you're a mom of 3 that's trying to like make sure everyone has what they like, formula to go to daycare with and everything, like, and you're packing your own freaking containers and like snacks, like, I'm not like, I was like literally listening to music in my car. I'd be like bicep curling, like as I'm driving, trying to memorize the choreography. My poor kids, like, what are we listening to? I didn't have the brain space, and it didn't become enjoyable, right? Like Friday nights, I would literally like leave work, go teach, be done at 5:30, have to get to daycare by 6 before they like lock the doors to get my kids to whip home, to like just try to get everyone in bed so I could just relax for a little bit. Sunday mornings, I taught a class, and it's like when you're out the door at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, like you want to like stay and cuddle and like in your pajamas on a Sunday morning. You don't want to like have to get up and out, especially in like upstate New York winters, and like, no. So I didn't love what I was doing, although I loved the things that I was doing. It didn't work for my life, right? And so I prefaced that by saying, like, don't prejudge anybody who needs this opportunity, especially if you're here to grow your team. That means you have to offer the coaching opportunity. And I catch myself doing this all the time. And then I have to go back to that person. Like, nobody would have asked me, because from the outside, I was working 40 hours. I was teaching at a gym. Like I was a gym girl, right? I had 3 kids, young kids, no time. Nobody would have thought that I needed or wanted this. Meanwhile, in my head, I was like, damn, wouldn't it be so amazing to be able to turn my passion for like health and fitness into a livelihood? And I didn't know it existed. So nobody did ask me. So I watched this girl on social media for like a year, trying to like decipher what she did. Because back then, like nobody was doing like sneak peeks or that kind of thing, And I was just like, wow, she just lit up my screen with her joy every time. And I knew she was working out every day. And I'm like, I want to work out every day. Like I don't have time to work out every day. Right. Like this was a solution to a problem that I had. I didn't even know a solution existed. So I was like watching and trying to figure out until I just messaged her and asked. And I'll catch myself now seeing people that are like in the fitness field or whatever. And I'll be like, oh, well, I shouldn't offer this. And I'm like, Christina, like that was you. This is exactly why you need to offer to that person. So anyway, I secretly bought 21 Day Fix DVDs off Amazon, because my coworker was doing the program, and she was coming into work like at 7:30 a.m. She's like, oh, I got my workout in, and she's bouncing around. I'm like, what crack are you on? And I was like, I would have the mom guilt if I tried to like go, to the gym after work. So I was spending no time personally, like I was only teaching, but I wanted that for me. Like I needed that for me, right? I was caretaking all day at work. I was caretaking all night at home. I needed that time for me, but I couldn't figure out how to put it in my schedule. She was getting it done before anyone woke up in her house. I'm like, well, that sounds pretty cool. And so I ordered my DVDs off Amazon because I was so embarrassed. I was like, okay, like what will people think of me? And Autumn like handed me my ass in 30 minutes in my basement one morning. And I was like, what was that? Like I teach classes, they're an hour long. I was like, you have to be at a gym. And I was like hooked. I was like, I'm done before anyone wakes up. Like I had time for me and everyone's sleeping. And then I could go to work and I don't have to worry about like at night, either trying to fit something in or just feeling bad that I couldn't fit it in. And that was amazing. I was totally skeptical about the nutrition, right? I thought I knew how to eat healthy, but I was that like, person that didn't eat enough during the day, only to overeat at night, right? It's diet, 100-calorie packs, anything with artificial sweeteners, like diet. And so then my friend at work decided to give me a sample of her Shakeology. She's like, no, like, I'm not kidding. Like, this stuff is like for real. She's like, it's some sort of magic. Like, I'm drinking it and I don't crave anything anymore. And I was the person that like every night was digging into like ice cream and sweets because I love my sweets. And so I tried it and I was like, oh, this is good. And then I was like, well, if I was wrong about the workouts, like, let me try the nutrition. So I did. And like my whole world changed, just like my whole world changed. So I was like, I need every busy working mom to know that she can feel this good too. So that's when I reached out to the girl that I was watching and I said, can you just tell me a little bit about what it is that you do? Because like, I feel like I want to do this. Like, I'm doing your programs. Like, sorry, I didn't get them through you, but I was like, I needed to kind of test the waters. And so she told me. And so I was like, well, that's it. Like, so I wanted to build a bit. I wanted to start the business. So I did come into it for like the business, but I will say I didn't come in to build a business. I came in to like make a difference, right? I came in to like share something with women. I had no intention of like leaving my full-time job. I was just like, I have a career, but I also have a freaking college tuition and like 3 kids in daycare and 2 twins and like preemie formula and like diapers and wipes. So I'm like, this will help, right? And it won't take me out of the house anymore, which I couldn't do. I couldn't be anywhere else any more hours of the day. So it was a solution for me that I wanted to pay forward. I did it alongside my full-time job and alongside teaching at the gym for a couple of years. And it was a lot, but I knew this could take me somewhere. I didn't know where. Well, about a year into it, I had earned my Success Starter ticket to go to Summit. So I was scheduled to Summit. I had my plane ticket, my first Summit. And like 2 days before that, my sister got diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We got a call at work and it was like, she's in the hospital. She's not coming out. Like, you need to like get here. And I remember, and I'm trying not to cry. I remember I couldn't, my coworkers were like, we need to drive you. Like, you can't even like see straight. I was like, fine. So needless to say, I canceled Summit as quickly as I could. I was not going, right? I like lost my plane ticket, lost my ticket, but it didn't matter because I just needed, like, my world needed to make her okay. She's my only sister. She's like my best friend. People think we're twins. Like, I cannot live without her. So, it was a stage in my business where I wanted to drop everything. I wanted to quit this. I also wanted to quit my full-time job. I wanted to quit parenting. I wanted to quit being anything but like there for her. And I remember sitting there like about to cancel my coach account. And then I was like, you know what? Like, this is my happy place. Like waking up and like being able to get a workout and like check into my group. Like, that's the only thing that's making me smile right now, you know? So it's like, I can't. So no, I couldn't build the business as fast as I wanted, right? I had, like, for me, I hit diamond. I was going to, Summit. I was like, that's it, 1 star, 2 star. And I had to take my foot off the gas. But you have to recognize what this business brings to your life. Or because if I was worried about whether I would hit Success Club the next month or whether I would hit the next rank, I would have said no. So why bother? But instead, I just looked at what this business was bringing me at that time, which was joy. And so I knew I needed to stick with it. And I say that this business was put in my life a year before I knew I needed it because it saved me. It saved me through like really hard times while she was sick. I would go spend my weekends at the hospital, just sitting by her bedside. And it was a long time of treatment, but she got through. And so I was kind of like, wow, it would have been really cool if I didn't have to work for anyone else and like be asking for time off to be with her. Right. I'm like, wouldn't that be nice if I could? And I saw other coaches then doing Beachbody full time, which was like, almost like my eyes weren't open to that before she got sick. And I was like, that would be really nice. Right. But she got well, she got home. And then of course you think like life goes back to normal. Although if you've ever had a family member with cancer, I consider it like BC, right? And AC, like before cancer and after, like life is just never the same. And so I was working my business, to the level that I could. And I wasn't like going to walk away from my full-time job, but I was like, you know what? Like I saw little inklings of opportunity to ease some stress in my life. Like I hated being the mother that was like racing my kids around in the morning. Like, come on, mommy's got to go. I'm going to be late for work. I would literally like have a visceral like knot in my stomach. So I was like, what if I could cut back my work hours by like an hour and go in at 8:30 instead of 7:30 and like have breakfast with my kids instead of like wrapping up their stuff in Tupperware and like dropping it at daycare. That would be amazing, right? So because I started seeing the potential that this business could change my life, I'm like, when I started earning enough by doing that, I asked my boss, could I cut back by an hour and go in at 8:30 instead of 7:30? And she said, yes. And I remember the first time I had breakfast at the table with my kids, I was like, this is like the dream. right? Like I was not, like the anxiety that I used to have in the morning, I almost didn't realize. I was like, I am like living the dream. And so that was awesome. And then shortly thereafter, I was like, well, what if I could, instead of having to like rush them to bed so I could stay up to work a little bit right before going back to bed, like, what if I could do that in the afternoon, like before I get them from daycare, and then just have my nights with them? So I worked a little harder. I earned a little more. I said to my boss, you know what? I think I'd like to leave at 2:30 instead, like just work eight, a 6-hour day instead of an 8-hour day. She said, okay. And so I flip-flopped hours with this girl at work, and I did that, and I could get some work done in the afternoon. I'm like, oh my God, like this is amazing, right? So you need to let your vision and your why grow with you, because you're not going to jump from, right, like wherever you are now to wherever you envision being. You have to like make little vision steps along the way, and like allow it to grow with you. Allow your vision to grow with you as you grow, because if there's one thing that's a constant, it's change, right? And especially nowadays. So you never know when your life circumstances are going to change. But that's why I said you don't need to know where you're going with this business, but you need to know this business can take you wherever you're going in life. And I'm not saying that means you have to want to leave your full-time job, because again, I still had no inkling of doing that, but I saw little ways that this business could enhance my life. And so that's what kept me showing up when I had no time, right? That's what kept me showing up around the busy schedule and around my sister being sick, because it gave something to me that could positively impact my life. So she was almost a year in remission, and it came back. And she got sick again, and we live in New York, so we had to start going. She needed a bone marrow transplant. She's part of a study. We had to go to Dana-Farber in Boston. And so here I was again, like setting up my weekends with like somebody to take care of my kids so I could go out there and be with her. And it just was like eye-opening to me, like life is just too short, right? Like you don't even know what's going to happen. And I'm like, I was kicking myself because the first time she went through it, I was kind of like, wouldn't it have been nice not to ask for time off? And here I was again, thinking like she got through it, it'll never happen again. It happened again. And I'm like, and I'm still freaking asking for time off. Like, what the hell? So I decided after that, like I needed to like move my business, right? Like move my business. Like there was a potential here. I didn't love my full-time job any less, but I loved my family more, right? I needed to show up like the mom, the sister, the wife that I wanted to be. And I couldn't do that by being somewhere else, right? Working, punching a clock, asking for permission to be with my family when they needed me. I didn't want to be that constantly drained mom that came home from work and was just like, go to bed and then do it all again. And that's what I felt like I was. And so I decided to start working harder. And then I'm just going to like, fast forward another year or two. And actually, I don't even know, when was COVID now? Last April. I was still juggling everything, working full time. My sister was healthy and well. She lives 4 houses down. We live in a cul-de-sac, and she would be like taking walks in the middle of the day. And I'm like, well, I want to be with her and she's sick, but like, I really want to be with people I love when they're well. Right. When we can, I'm like, wouldn't it be nice to be able to just go to lunch with like my husband, since he works nights, I could actually see him, or go for walks for her during the day. And so again, my vision started growing for the kind of life that I wanted, again, just because this had the opportunity to give it to me. And then last April, my dad actually got diagnosed with cancer. And at that point, COVID was happening. I was walking into a nursing home every day, which meant like gown, glove, COVID everywhere. So I was kind of distancing from my parents and even my sister, if I had contact with a resident that had COVID, because she was still recovering. My dad was sick. And then I just was like, no more, like I need to leave this job, because I'm not putting myself at risk when I have family that needs me. I knew my dad was going to need help. My parents were going to need help with appointments. And so I took family medical leave, and that's actually when I joined the push group with these ladies. I had no business investing any money in a group because we were down to like one income. My husband worked in the restaurants, which closed, right? So we went from like 3 incomes, like Beachbody, my job, and his, to like one half, because Beachbody wasn't really like a full-time income for me at the time. But it put my back against the wall, because it wasn't the life that I wanted to live anymore, right? And so I needed to just take advantage of this opportunity. So again, nobody could have predicted what happened with my sister. Nobody could have predicted what happened to my dad. Nobody could have predicted COVID, but it's a freaking blessing that I had Beachbody, or I'd still be literally punching the clock there every day, asking for time off when people needed me. And that just wasn't worth it. So you don't know what's coming up in your life, but you're sitting on an opportunity to create and whatever it is that you want. And I think for some people, like if you're not recognizing that, even if life is even keel, and like I said, even if you have no intention of leaving your full-time job, because again, I didn't, you just don't know. And so I encourage you, if you're here, you're showing up for calls and you're showing up for your power and you're showing up for your business, show up to keep moving it forward, right? Show up not to sit in the same place every quarter and declare the same goal, or every year and declare the same goal. Like, show up like you are backed against the wall, like all of a sudden you have no other income, like you have a reason in your life to create something different for yourself, because you never know at the drop of a hat when you might need that. So my vision hasn't stopped growing, and it won't stop growing, because I know that I can live the life that I want to live through this, right? So what is next on my vision? It's like getting rid of my student loan debt. It's helping my parents age in place. After working in the field that I did, like, I know they're going to need care eventually. Like, they need to get out of their house right now, but like, they're going to be stressing about, can they afford this? Can they get care? And I'm like, I want to be in a place where I can help them with that and help them age comfortably. I want to renovate some things in our house, so my kids have place downstairs, and it's not, thank God it's dark, all behind me, their playthings, because I kind of share an office with their room. And I want to just be prepared for whatever else unexpected happens. So having a vision for this business and for your life is what makes you show up and do the things, even on the days that you don't feel like it. And even when you're not getting immediate results along the way, because again, this doesn't happen overnight. It does happen with consistency over time. I have been consistent with Success Club every single 5.5 years in the business. I haven't missed. And honestly, I always tell people, like, I don't do anything extreme. I'm just extremely consistent. I don't cold message anyone. I've never invited more. Like, I built my business on 3 to 5 people a day, right? 3 to 5 invites a day, most days of the week, connecting with 3 to 5 people a day. I'm not like messaging 60 people. Like, even when I hear Carl get on the national makeup call, it's like, go invite 100 people. I'm like, thank you. I love you, Carl. And like, I see your vision, but that would feel ick to me. Like, it's just not the way I run my business. So you don't need to be doing anything like super crazy. I just was consistent, and I've always been consistent, and consistency compounds, right? And then people trust you. So, a lot of people will kind of sit and be like, well, how do I even create a vision, right? How do I create, what does that look like? So I'm going to break it down into 3 parts for you. And I want this to kind of be like an active thinking exercise for you. So the 3 parts are: number 1, the vision of you as a human in this business. I'm going to elaborate on all these. Number 2, the vision of your ideal teammate or challenger. And number 3, the vision of your ideal 24-hour day. And I'm sorry, I don't have slides for you guys. I'm just not a fancy slide girl. I don't know if you guys do slides or you're used to it, but I will just say, take notes, and I will repeat myself. Okay. So the vision of you as a human being in this business. Get specific. Who are you, right? As a coach, what kind of coach do you want to be? I know we all watch other coaches. You join this business because you watch another coach. You're in this business and you probably see other coaches kind of having the success you want, or having the persona you want, or acting the way you want. But what kind of coach do you want to be? Like, what are those characteristics that you would literally pull from like everybody if you had them? What kind of community do you want to create in your groups? How do you want to be seen by those who you help get healthy and fit? Think about these things, because you have to show up as that person. You have to ask yourself, the things I'm doing every day, are they shaping and molding me into that person, or are they not? If I want to be the person with this like awesome rock star community of challengers that just like love me, and it's like a sisterhood and everyone is like a family, am I pouring my heart and soul into my challenge group to do that? Am I leaning in during the hard times like I did to create that closeness and being vulnerable with people? Or if my life gets a little crazy, am I leaning out and just be like, that challenge group can wait, right? And no one's telling you the right or wrong. Some people are in this because they love mentoring coaches. Some people love challenge. Like, it doesn't matter, but like, you have to have a vision of like, what kind of coach do you want to be? What kind of community do you want to create? And as a leader, what rank do you want to hold? And what kind of leader are you? What kind of relationships do you have with your fellow coaches, your clients, your mentors, your family, your friends? Are you the person that speaks confidently? Do you follow through on what you say you're going to do? That builds confidence, you guys. Every decision, as simple as whether you decide to show up and do your workout or skip it, or follow your meal plan or skip it, or do your connections and your follow-ups or skip them that day, or show up on your social media or skip your post, read or listen to your PD or skip it. We know what we should be doing. So every time you make a decision not to do it, subconsciously, you are decreasing your confidence. Okay. So if you want to be someone that shows up and speaks confidently and has a confident persona as a leader, are you following through on the things that you know you should be doing and the things you say that you're doing? Do you want you on your team? You know, for a while, I was like, I want this team of working coaches that are inviting to the business and building, and I wasn't inviting to the business. I'm like, how? That makes no sense. How could I get working coaches if I won't even invite to coaching or talk about it in a way that it's a gift that it is? Is the you that shows up 1, 2, 6 months into your business the same as the you that started on day one with all that excitement and all that energy for what you were doing and all that like zest to share? And I'll break that down even further. Is the you that shows up on the last day of the month the same as the person that showed up on the first day of the month with all the fire, right? That I'm going to hit SC10 this month, or I'm going to sign on 5 new coaches, and mid-month it's not happening, and then you just stop showing up. So are you showing up on day 30 the same way you're showing up on day 1 with that same fire, those same goals, that same like not negotiable, I'm going to do this? And are you consistent? Like I said, success is not a talent thing in this business. It's a consistency thing. Small actions over time compound a big result. And I'm pretty sure everyone has read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, but if you have not, you need to get off that call and get that book. And if it's been a while, read it again. It's not the big actions, you guys. It's the small, simple things that compound over time. But you do have to make sure that you're consistent at doing the right things, right? Because you can be very consistent about doing the wrong things. You can be super consistent about making pretty graphics that do not build your business, right? You can be super consistent on scrolling social media and saving 1,000 reels that you never make, not going to build your business. So when I say be consistent, you have to be consistent at the things that are high value activities, the things that move the needle forward in your business. And those are the vitals, right? You don't have to guess at that. Another beauty of Beachbody, they hand that to you on a silver platter. These are the things we know from coaches that have had success will help build your business. So are you consistent with the right things? And is your mindset what you want it to be? The mind is like the most powerful thing. If you make up your mind that you can count on yourself to follow through and reach your goals, then you've made up your mind that you're going to succeed. But if you've made up your mind that some circumstance in your life is not going to allow you to build this, right? Or COVID, or you know, whatever else, other excuses. If you make up your mind that that's going to limit you, or that you don't have some skill that someone else has, or some success, or some upline, or some magic resources, right? If you make up your mind that that is going to limit you, then it will absolutely limit you. You know, how do you respond when you're having a bad day? Like, what's your mindset like? If you're getting all no's, and if you have doubters showing up, if you're failing, you're winning, right? If you're talking to people and getting no's, you're talking to people, and those no's are just getting you closer to your yeses, right? And if you're getting your message out there, and we know it takes like 12 touches to ever get someone to join you. So even your no's along the way, that's in your bank. That's in your bank of those touch points with that person. So you have to look at them like that. You have to have a mindset like that. You have to detach emotion from people's response. And you have to look in, do you truly believe that our products and programs in our coaching opportunity, do you truly believe in them, right? Do you believe that you're worthy of the success? Do you believe that? Do you trust that by doing the things that you're told that you'll be successful, the vitals, right? Do you trust that doing those over time they'll succeed, or are you constantly thinking that someone else has a secret sauce that you don't have? Or are you second guessing, thinking, well, that works for her, but it wouldn't work for me? Who are you? Last part of the who are you? Who are you to your team, to your friends, and to your family? What does that person look like? How does she treat other people? Does she value time with her loved ones? Because you're not building this business to ditch your family, right? Does she value time for her self-care? Does she work all the time? How does her team see her as a leader? Do they feel like their voices are heard? So all of that goes into who you want to be in this business. And then number 2, what's the vision of your ideal client or teammate? Who do you want to help, right? You have to be clear on this, and some people will call it your avatar. And I don't think of avatar, like I've heard avatar trainings. They're like, well, what kind of jeans do they wear, and where do they shop, and what kind of music are they listening to? Like, I don't care if you listen to country or rock, I could still help you if we share a common struggle. I don't care if you wear Old Navy leggings or Lulu leggings, I can still help you if we share a common struggle. So for me, that struggle might have been someone who was in the under eating, over exercising, like food deprivation, diet mentality, right? For me, it might be someone who understands that like health is wealth because of circumstances that either they've had at their job or their family. I am not the person, like I look at Ashley Molstad and I think she's amazing, but I'm not the person that's like you know, working out to like drink beverages, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just, you can have a different niche, right? Like, I'm not going to post something about like getting my workout in so I can have like tacos and margaritas on a Tuesday, because that's just not my brand. That's not who I am, right? I'm the kind of person that's like, I want to prevent any disease that I can coming down the road, right? Health, it to me is life. So who do you want to help? Do you want to help the person? Like, think about how many ways there are to lose weight. Like, I'm a 2B girl. I'm a like no foods off limit kind of thing. There's people out there that love macro counting. There's people that are training for bikini competitions. I don't want to help those people. That's not my jam, but there's a coach out there for them, and that's awesome. So I want you to, when you want to enjoy what it is that you do in your vision, it's like, who do you want to help? Who's this tribe of people that you want to make a difference in their life? Because you're going to make the difference, right? Who are these people? What are they like? You know, who do you want on your team? You know, and that can be very different than who you want to serve as a client. If you're on this call right now, my guess is that you want to grow your organization and your business, right? So list 10 qualities of that person that you want, right? I want someone that's resourceful, that's a go-getter, that has always been an overachiever. Like, I don't care, from like age 2, I can remember I wanted straight A's in school. And if I got like a bad grade, I was Bob. You know, these are qualities of human beings. It's nothing that, no one has to learn this stuff to do Beachbody. These are just like the qualities of the person I want. I want a growth mindset, a positive mindset. I want someone who feels like they were meant for a little bit more always, right? Or they have that mentality of like, things are possible. I don't want somebody who's thinking like, you know, life is good when it's mediocre, right? So what are the qualities of the people that you want on your team? Because if you're really clear on that, then you're going to start to speak to that person. You're going to be able to start to attract that person into your business. And really, you want lifers, right? You don't want people to come and go because they don't jive with your team. So it's really clear that you get clear on that vision of who's your ideal client and who's your ideal teammate, so that you can create this thriving business. So just to give you a couple ideas, like I said, I want people who are going to add value to people, who value personal growth, who lead by example, who always exceed expectations, who live intentionally. I want proactive problem solvers, big thinkers, people that value personal connection and belonging, positive thinkers, know she was meant for more. So take some time after this call and like make a list of like that person, right? Who's your ideal teammate. And then the last thing, and this is probably the most powerful exercise, and I would really encourage you to take time to do this after this call, is the vision of your ideal 24-hour day. Because here's the thing, in America, it's like, we don't think we have any control over this. Well, I would like to do that, but I have a job. Well, I would like to do that, but I have to be here. Well, I would like to do that, but I have to bring my kids to practice. Well, you can create your day. And I'm not saying that happens overnight, but this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. When I saw that vision of like taking walks during the day or having breakfast with my kids, it's like, what is your ideal day? Because go out there and freaking work to create it. So a couple questions that will prompt you along the way, like, what time would you wake up? Would you wake up to an alarm? Would you wake up at the same time you do now? Would you sleep in a little bit longer because you could, right? What would you do when you first woke up? Would you read, journal, meditate, have some tea? Would you jump right into your workout? Would you be rushing around to get kids out the door, right? It's like choose, write down, what is your ideal day? What does your morning routine look like? How many hours a day would you work? And what would you be doing for work during those hours? What would that look like ideally for you? How do you practice self-care during your day? Do you take a bath, an Epsom salt bath in the middle of the day? Do you go for like massage? Do you take a nap when you need to? How would you spend time with your friends and your family? Would you go on lunch dates? Would you go for walks outside? Who would you be sitting with at lunch, right? You know, would you be by yourself, or would you be with a group of coworkers? Would you have more dinner dates? Would you go to events? Would you be less stressed? What does your nighttime routine look like? Would you go to bed at a certain time because you had to, because you knew how to get up? Would you be running around packing lunches and stressed, or would you be sitting down and relaxing, saying, what another great day that was? I can't wait to do it again tomorrow. What time would you go to bed? Right? So when you have this vision then of this like ideal day, because I'm not one for vision boards, because I mean, I think that's awesome, but like a trip to Disney, a new car, or whatever, those are great things to shoot for, but nothing's greater to shoot for than to have like love the day that you wake up to 24/7, 365, because that's our life, right? That's our life. And one vacation a year is not going to make up for maybe being miserable at whatever job that you're doing, or however you're spending your day 24/7. So I think it's really important, because then everything you do for this business becomes more meaningful. Like I have done a 5 a.m. power hour. It was used to be 4:30 a.m. or 4 a.m. before when I was still out the door at 7 for work. And I still get up and I have that time because I like love my morning, right? Like I just love that time. And now I can get my workout and I can enjoy breakfast with my kids. I can get them on the bus, right? Then I can shower. Like I'm not rushing around like, anxiety ridden. And so these are things you can start to create, and it makes showing up to do, like when I still get up early in silence to do my power hour and like connect with people and engage with people and invite people and check in my challengers, I freaking love it because it created this life for me that I'm living, that I love. Went for 2 walks outside with my sister today. I had dinner with my family, right? I had breakfast with my kids. I'm getting them off the bus and I'm pretty much done with work then. Like I never could have imagined that before. So waking up to do the tasks, the unsexy things that we do every day, yeah, I'll gladly do it. I'm excited to do it every day because I know then those other things that I want, getting rid of student loan debt, supporting my parents as they age, like making play spaces in our house for the kids, and that, like, I know that's the stuff that's going to get me there. So of course I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be happy to do it, right? I'm going to be happy to offer this opportunity to people. I'm going to be happy to invite them to my challenge groups because that's exactly what got me here, and that's exactly what's going to continue to grow my vision. So you're not showing up because you love, expanding your network. You're not showing up because you love sending invites or love running free groups, right? You're showing up because you're building a life that you love. But you have to know what that life is that you want to love. And sometimes that means like, what would I change about my day right now if I could change it? Think about it, own it, write it down. You choose, right? You choose. So, the last thing I will say is like your vision needs you to show up for it daily, just like your kids need you to show up, or your dog or your spouse, right? Like you need to nurture it. You need to put in the effort on the good and the bad days, no matter what, because you are worthy of creating this ideal life for yourself. And so when you don't show up for the work you have to do, or you don't show up for the things that will grow your team, like you're letting your vision down, right? You're letting that potential life that you could live down by not doing that. So don't do that. All right, so that's all I have.
That was great. That definitely like reminded me of stuff. And I literally, like, as I'm listening to this, I'm like, I have to listen to this again. Like literally as I'm listening, I'm like, shit, what minute are we at? I got to start this again at like 9, at like 30 minutes in. Cause it's like literally stuff you forget when you've been doing it for so long. And I love the idea of like, it's for me, like where I am, right, in this business. Like when you say like envision your perfect 24 hours, like I am there. Like I do that. That's my perfect 24 hours is my life right now. And it's hard to like sell that because it's so far out of reach for so many people. And like doing it, like you said, it's like when I started this was nowhere near my plan, my thought, my goal. Like never did I think this is where I wanted to go. And it truly is like these little pieces that you're able to, like, first for me it was like, oh, I can sign my kids up for like ballet with this money, like, whoa, like that's great. And then it was like, wait, I can sell my other business and actually like focus on this business and like do just this. And like step by step you like start to build these goals that like you really would feel impossible if that was your goal from when you get started. So I love that idea of like, if you have a second job right now, right? Like maybe the first goal is just to replace that income, right? If your second job is like waitressing, or, I know a lot of people do stuff like that, have a second income. Maybe there's, your first goal is that, or maybe like, I know now with like the vaccination requirements and stuff in our state, in our city, like it reminded me exactly of what you said. Like you would have no idea that like maybe you'd be out of a job now, that you would have no clue that life is ahead of you, but like you have this in your lap to start building in a way of like, there's no way, like this is my opportunity to do this all in. And, just like you said. So I feel like it's, a great reminder. And the same when it comes to like, you want to build a team of these people that are going to work, you have to do more than you expect them to do. So if you're expecting people to be talking about coaching and growing their teams and you're not doing it, there's just no way it's going to happen to you. Like if you expect to sign people up that are hitting Success Club and you're not hitting Success Club, that is not going to happen. Like it's all the speed of the leader. So it's like just good reminders, because I'm definitely guilty of some of this stuff too. But it's so important to remember, like, this is literally like the biggest gift that you can have, but it's up to you to make it what you want. Like, I'm spoiled at this point because I've been doing this for so many years that, like, that ideal 24 hours has been my life now for so long. Like, exactly what you said. Like, I take my kids to the bus. My work gets done before they get home, other than these calls at night. Like, I pick them up from the bus. When they are with me, I am with them totally. Like, I don't have to be working. I don't have to be, because of all the years building this to get to this point. And it's not because we've done anything special. We've used the exact same tools that you guys have. Like, literally word for word, what we give you is what we've done to get to this point. Like, we want you to be as successful as us, and you can do it if you believe you can. And instead of, like she said, really having that huge vision that could almost be like, that's too much, I'm never going to get there. Set those small things along the way that'll slightly improve your life every day. And I feel like that's like a huge new perspective that I never even like connected that bridge all of these years. Like that, like I feel like I was able to connect with people of like, I paid for the ballet lessons. Like, I was able to, like, whatever, those little things. And then it became almost where like your income and your life is so out of reach for people that I didn't know how to even bridge it.
Yeah. And it makes it so much more relatable when you're talking about coaching, because that's exactly it for me. Like, when I started to pay for help ease the stress of daycare was like huge. I'm not saying what I made cover daycare, but it was like, that was huge for our family, right? To be able to maybe go get a manicure for myself, like, and not feel super guilty about it was huge. Or like, if you literally, I mean, I love like every specialty peanut butter and almond butter, and like those jars can be like $16. It's stupid. But like, if you bought a jar of freaking $16 peanut butter because you could with your paycheck, like, share that. That's relatable to people. If you walk into Target and you're like, I'm just going to pick up this decorative pillow because I can, like, those are the things. And yeah, like then when I shared like an hour of breakfast with my kids, right? Or this at night, or like, that's what.
And it's funny, like, hearing you say, like, I was able to have breakfast with them. And that was like my dream. Like, I was living a dream. Like, you start to take that stuff so for granted that it's like just listening to you is like, that's so true. Like, I take that for granted every day. Like, rushing around, like, I rush around not because I have, because of my schedule, but because like we're gonna miss the bus. I have two like preteen girls, and it's like, I don't like that shirt, she's wearing my pants, like, that kind of thing. But you like lose sight of like, I'm lucky I'm the one doing this every day. Like, I'm lucky I'm the one braiding their hair. I'm lucky I'm the one bringing them to the bus. I know every other parent. I know the bus driver. Like, if that was someone else doing that, I can't even imagine like that life at all. But those are things I don't share because I'm so like far, it's been so long, like that you know what I mean? But those are the things I feel like we have to remember, that people, that is people's dream, is to be able to be home and have breakfast with their kids.
Yeah.
And
you
like,
never want to
that's the
stop
dream that we
dreaming.
can help them do. Like, it's so, that was great. Do you guys have questions? Anybody have questions about any of this? This is recorded. So like, if you do want to listen to it again, which I really am going to, because I feel like you need to be reminded of this stuff. Like, whether or not you already accomplished a lot in this business doesn't matter. Like, you've all accomplished something. You're all here for a reason. You all have goals. So like, you can use this call as a reminder of like, that you need that vision and that you can become whatever you want in this business, and like, not to feel so overwhelmed by like what might feel like hundreds of steps ahead to get to that like perfect 24 hours, because it could be just a year from now if things happen and you really go all in. It could be your life could look totally different, and things can happen that none of us know are going to happen, that you'll now have this like tool to help you through whatever that thing may be. Does nobody has questions? Anything at all? Wow, that's great. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much. Seriously, like, I don't often expect to like, I've been through like so many freaking calls in my life and like heard from so many great coaches, and somebody's saying something. Hold on, I'm sorry. Christina, you said you reach out to 5 to 6 people a day. Where do you find them?
Well, and this is another thing where I say consistency compounds, because when you're doing that forever, like you have a full funnel. And that's why a lot of people, like I'll get coaches on my team and say, well, I'm just stuck. I don't have anyone to invite. Okay, well, let's step that back. How are you doing with connecting and engaging with people? Not how many followers are you, or like friends are you adding per day? So it's not like the four vitals work in conjunction. You can't do one without the other. You can't,
Yes.
you're going to run out of people to invite if you're not, it's like, you can't just do one piece.
They're,
So
they're a
always
building block.
yeah,
They're
if
linked.
you're
They only
having
work together. If you're doing this link and this link, it doesn't work.
doesn't work. So if you're having a hard time finding 5 or 6 people, like say to invite, then I ask you to look back and say, okay, how many people am I adding to my network every day? And I'm an old school Facebook. I'm not like huge on Instagram. So this is my process. I literally, when I open up my phone and it says friends you may know, and like at the highest top of the list is people you have the most people in common with every day. Boom, 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 boom. As long as they're not friends with other coaches, I request them. I don't pay attention. I'm not emotionally attached to the response of whether they say yes back or not. And then on Tuesdays and Fridays, like I just haven't set my schedule. I go and I filter my friends by recently added. And I'll just go say, hey, so-and-so, thank you so much for accepting my friend request. I saw we had a bunch of people in common, so I thought I'd say hello, how are you? Generic message. I don't spend time scoping their page or anything. I just wait and see if there's someone that's going to respond back. And then if they do, then I go to their page and then I'll kind of continue the conversation with some sort of commonality. Right. And then the thing about Facebook is like, it's not like everyone on Instagram is running stories, but on Facebook, I feel like it's a lot of us, right? We're going to be at the top of people's list. So usually they'll pop up in my stories, right? Because that's really where I invite from every single day, is like, who's watching my stories. I just go to my first story. It's got the most viewers. I don't care whether people accidentally saw it because they were just scrolling through stories and kept going. It doesn't matter. It gives me a reason to reach out. Right. So then when people start showing up, or if there's someone that I've been engaging back and forth with Messenger, then they're going to start seeing your stuff in their feed, right? That's the way the algorithm works. They start liking, they start commenting. And so I just make sure that I kind of use friends lists on Facebook, almost like collections on Instagram. Like I have a potential challengers, potential coaches. So you can then go spend some time engaging with the people that you think will be potential challengers. So you're building that little bit of relationship, or just build it through Messenger. And then when they're watching my stories, or if they like and comment on a post, my invite is just so simple. It's like, hey, it's been so nice seeing your name pop up here. Like, thank you so much for the support. I'm sure you've seen that I run these virtual health and wellness communities. We focus on fitness and nutrition, but all things mindset and like motherhood or busy mom life or whatever you want to say. Would you be open to hearing more about it? Right. So again, that means you have to be showing up in your stories, sharing about what you do, coaching, challenging, because then it makes that invite super easy. Hey, this is super random, but I saw you watching my stories. Have you ever been interested in doing what I do? Like if I'm doing a story about coaching, so simple. But it's because I'm doing the other legwork, right? And then and you can't expect people to be engaging with you if you're not engaging back, right? Like social media is social. You have to be like out there. Like, and when and separate the making friends and the engaging from the inviting. Separate it completely. Like when I'm in just making friends mode, I'm a professional friend maker on social media. I don't care if you're coming into my business or not. Like if we jive, like I want to talk with you. I'm an introvert. I don't like to leave my house. So that's my socialization. But if you're constantly looking at people as like an SC number, or right, if you're living not in abundance, but if you're living in scarcity mindset, you're going to be like, oh, I got to get this person to sign up, and they're going to feel that, right? So when I say 3 to 5 people a day, every day, it's to your benefit, because then if you haven't been doing that, then in a month or two, you're going to have more people to talk to than you even know what to do with, as long as you're doing the right things, right? And we also know people don't say yes the first time. So when you get around to those people that you've invited for like the 10th time in 3 months and they're saying yes, then you're going to also be building a relationship with new people who are going to tell you no for the next couple of months, and then they'll be your next signups. So it's not an overnight thing. It's a consistency compounds thing. And so if you're not doing it, no big deal. Start now. Start tomorrow, right? And like I said, I just friend as many people as I can per day. And then twice a week I have in my schedule that I'll just go thank them for accepting and just say, we have a lot of friends in common. And then if they write back, then I'll scope their page, right? Then they're usually showing up in my stories, and I'll thank them for the support there, and just be like, oh, I'm sure you've seen that I have a health coaching business, or I'm sure you've seen that I run these communities. Are you open to hearing more about it? So it's not weird. It's not icky. They're showing up, right? And I'll just say, and if not, that's okay too. I just thought I'd ask because I see your name popping up. So it's like, I see you, you're watching. And if not, no big deal, right? Like give them an out, because everyone needs an out, or they'll look for one. And it's just super casual, but that's it. So that's where I find my people. I'm just really consistent at expanding my network. So I constantly have like a full funnel. And like I said, I look at connecting and engaging as a completely separate thing from inviting. Like I'm literally just looking, because I like to take interest in other human beings, right? That's one of the beautiful things about this business is it's brought me some amazing relationships, even on social media with people I don't know and are not customers or coaches of mine. But I'm like, you're a banging human being, right? I really enjoy like just watching your stuff and engaging with you. So, and then you never know. That's the other thing is you never know what's going to happen. It might not be right for them now, but it might be right for them in a year, like me stalking that girl for a year. Like you just don't know. But that's kind of how I do it. It's not magic. I'm not digging for people. I'm just really consistent at keeping a full funnel.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's about keeping the full funnel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you're not doing the friending new people every day and the liking and the all of that, when you randomly send a message, it's like, hey, want to join my group? They're like, sorry, Joe. Who are you? What are you talking about? Like it needs to all go hand in hand. So when that message comes, they know who you are. They already feel like they're like your friend, quote unquote, and they've seen your stuff in your stories. That's what I tell you guys all the time. Like if people are following your stories and you send an invite and you feel weird about it, if you're doing your stories correctly, they know exactly what you're doing, and there's nothing weird about it. It's like they walked into your store front
They're in
that
your
says,
house.
"Hey, I'm a gym," and they walk in, and you're not like, "Hey, want to do a workout?" Instead, you're like just sitting there quiet at the desk like a weirdo. Like you have to give them the invite. You have to say like, "Hey, welcome. Do you want to get started?" Like it's literally that simple. And the same when they like follow you or friend you back. Like I send on Instagram when somebody follows me, I send them a message that says like, "Hey, thanks for the follow. Were you interested in like fitness and nutrition advice, or were you just following for inspiration?" Because when they clicked follow on my page, there is no secret about that I do nutrition and fitness groups, that this is like my business. Like they know before they click follow. So it's not weird. If your page doesn't scream that, they wouldn't know. And then it might be weird saying, like if I followed a random girl that just had like her family and nothing that had to do with like weight loss or fitness nutrition, and I just followed her and she was like, "Hey, thanks for the follow. Are you interested in fitness?" Like whatever. I'd be like, what? Who are you? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So it just has to all hold hands so that it works. Does anybody else have any questions before we go? So I hope you guys take from this call like those tips on what she said in terms of like the vision of yourself and who you are and like what you want to be as a coach. Like do you want to be the coach that everyone tells each other like, "Oh my god, my coach is so awesome, you should sign up with her"? If you want to be that coach, are you actually doing that stuff now? Are you proud of the group you're running? Do you feel like you could be doing more? You know, just show up as the coach that you would tell people about, that you would be like, my group is so great, my coach is so awesome, you need to do this with me, I'll tell her to send you an email or whatever. That's who you want to be in your group. And we're all guilty of this, I'm sure, to some degree. So we can all work on it. And then the vision of your teammates and all of that stuff, so that you know who you're talking to. Exactly what you said with like that Ashley Molstead thing. Totally. Like I'm so much more your brand than like party girl. Like I can't wait to go out and have, you know, more drinks tonight and shots at the bar with my team. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Obviously it friggin' works for her. Like she's been the top coach for like a few years, but that if I did that, it would be like, I'm faking it. This is weird. This is not me. And that's the same if you're trying to replicate somebody else's business that you're seeing on Instagram. Like that doesn't mean you can't be inspired by posts. It doesn't mean you can't like, but that just means it has to be coming from you and your brand and who you are. So make sure that like you're clear about who you're speaking to and the things you connect with, you know, how somebody would hear your message and be like, yes, that's who I need help from. And then obviously the 24-hour thing I love. And then you'll slowly, like, you're going to envision this 24 hours, and then maybe you're going to take 2 hours at a time of that day and make it a reality. And maybe it'll be 2 hours better this year and 2 hours better next year, but that's still 4 hours of your life every day that you can make better because of this business. If you don't give up and you show up and you do all the things. So thank you so much. Such a great call. Seriously, we so appreciate it and so appreciate your time. I know an hour at this time, which feels like night with all the kids and all of our busyness is a lot. So we thank you so much. I will upload this call. I'll give you a copy if you want it for your team or whatever.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll put it on YouTube. All right, you guys have a fabulous night. I'll see some of you at 6 a.m. for our power hour. Good night, guys.
Bye.